Hello and welcome to Newsclick. The ongoing impasse in Manipur and its border areas with Nagaland over the movement for a greater Nagaland or Nagalim shows no signs of abating. The leader of the separatists NSCN-IM, Thingaleng Muiva, continues to be denied entry by the Manipur government to visit his hometown in a Naga-dominated district of Manipur. The retaliatory blockade of the highway, the only road link into Manipur, has been temporarily called off, but tensions remain high. Manipur is dead set against any demand to cede Naga-dominated areas of that state, and the ongoing talks between the union government and the NSCN-IM continue to flounder. To discuss these gamut of issues involved, we have with us today Nandita Haksar, well-known lawyer and human rights activist who has had a long association with the Naga people's struggles. Nandita, welcome to Newsclick. Can the Manipur government legitimately continue to deny Muiva the right to visit his home village? If there are apprehensions of law and order problems, surely the state government should be handled them, or should be able to find a via media by which this visit can take place?
I think the question is, a little more complex. In the course of the Indo-Naga talks, the Home Minister, Mr. Chidambaram, and whoever, Mr. Pandey, who was dealing with the talks, had actually agreed to this request of Mr. Muiva to allow Mr. Muiva to go to his home village, Somdal, in Ukhrul district. Now, obviously, in the Indo-Naga talks, there's the Home Ministry, the intelligence agencies, there are all these people, and they must be very responsible people when they agreed to this condition. Now, when the state of Manipur denies this visit, I think it's a question of a constitutional crisis, because the state subject is law and order, as you said, and yet the Indo-Naga talks is between the central government and the NSCN. So now what should be done? So that is, I think, really the question that has come. Right. And this has come again and again, because the state of Manipur, or the government of Manipur, or the successive governments of Manipur, have really been representing the interests of the majority community. And they do not represent the interests of the minority tribal or hill districts. So I think that is really where the crux of the problem is.
So is the, as you put it, there is a constitutional crisis involved, perhaps created constitutional crisis, because in some sense, is the center hoping for a Naga-Manipur standoff to kind of overshadow the Indo-Naga standoff?
Well, that may well be, but one doesn't know. But that would be a very cynical politics, because, you know, people are really suffering from all sides, Nagas, Kukis, or everyone who is living in Manipur, and Indian troops, and I mean, it's a lot of suffering for a very cynical, Machiavelli kind of politics. Right. So question really is again, and this happens again and again in all the Northeast talks, that when you have talks with a group, the state, and I would really like to say purely as a lawyer that the boundaries of any state are not sacrosanct in India. The boundaries of the Indian state are in our constitution. So this whole question of remaking states and redefining boundaries is a very crucial question which has come up in the context of the Indo-Naga talks, and also as well as
many other places. Sure. So what impact do you think this standoff is going to have on the talks between the union government and the NSCN-IM?
The talks, the Indo-Naga talks, have been going on from 1997, and they've had more than 70 rounds of talks, and they haven't progressed. And the basic obstacle has been, the one issue is that the Nagas have been saying that ceasefire should be extended to all Naga inhabited areas, and the state of Manipur says we shouldn't have ceasefire. Now that means, should the NSCN be ambushing within Manipur? So again the question of law and order comes in. So this is the kind of thing in which a state government can undermine and sabotage an entire peace process which affects the whole country.
That's right.
So therefore I say it's a constitutional crisis.
Sure.
And I don't see anyone trying to apply their mind to solve it.
Right. Just to divert the issue a little bit, one sees similar conflicts, standoffs, constitutional crises, as you put it, resulting from unilateral actions by one side or the other. Like in this case, the Manipur government, in some other case, there's a road blockade. We've seen this happening in the Gorkha movement in the hills where Gishing was denied entry. We've seen this flaring up in Telangana where pro-United Andhra people are said, we will extern you from the Telangana region or from Hyderabad. Is this a sign of growing intransigence by people or movements? Or is it a sign of a growing breakdown of the constitutional arrangements? Or is it just a sign of the increasing chaos that we in India seem to be becoming familiar with?
I think it is, as a lawyer, as a person, I can only see it in a constitutional framework. I think that when India became independent, there were 552 units. And Sardar Patel reduced them, within a very short time to 15 states. Now, that was purely administrative convenience. But ever since then, now we have almost 29 states. Right. So obviously, there is something wrong with the political arrangements. And I think we have not even had a debate. In fact, even to raise these issues is supposed to be anti-national. And of course, when it happens in the northeast or on our border areas, it's a very serious problem. But it's happening everywhere. In fact, I think there's a book called Federal India in which he said there are going to be demands for 58 states within India. So, Rashiduddin Khan's book. Right. So, I think we need to raise the issue of, defining these borders within our country. And I think it's a very important constitutional political question which has to be raised. And we had a Pucci commission going into center states. It submitted its report. It has made no impact on the civil society. There are no debates. So I think these are very serious issues, and then they get trivialized because only the violence gets reports and the issues get drowned. Sure. So I think that's how I would look upon this.
Sure. So you don't think the issue of the methods and the tactics evolved really requires to be addressed separately from the substantive issues themselves?
Well, the tactics of the movements, I don't think that a armed group like NSN can work out difficult constitutional questions. They're not equipped. I mean, they only know about armed struggle. The fact that they've entered into talks and have patiently been talking for 70 rounds itself, I think, shows a certain degree of commitment. Right. But I do not think that they have the skills. This requires some commitment from the Indians to address these questions. And we don't have a policy for Northeast. We have a counter-insurgency policy of Northeast, but we don't have really a vision for the Northeast. I don't think we have a vision for this country anymore. Yeah.
Because this problem is not, in this case, there is a unique set of circumstances, but similar problems we are seeing all over the country. But in this overall context, this is, after all, the longest standing separatist movement in the country. Now we've engaged in talks, as you said, over the last decade and more. How do you see these talks progressing? Where do you see them headed? What is your prognosis?
I don't think that there are going to be easy solutions. I think that this present leadership is responsible. It's a revolutionary leadership. It has a certain background. Mr. Moiva himself has, whether we agree on the politics or not, but he's a trained revolutionary in the days of Mao. The next generation is not at all trained, and the next one after that, a lot of them are trained in Pakistan. They're just trained in arms. There is no political ideology. So therefore, you will get again a situation like in Kashmir, in which you try and break up the main group, and you have lots of little groups with very sophisticated arms, and then you can't negotiate with anybody. So you can't find a solution. And that, I think, is a very dangerous situation.
Do you see a tendency, at least on either side, either the union government side or with the NSC and IM, to try and find a solution where there could be a meeting point?
I think from the NSCN side, there is a solution, and they have been saying of, integrate Naga areas. And I think constitutionally, I don't see what the problem is. And in the past, even the Congress party had passed a resolution that this would not be looked at as anti-national. Now the problem is that the Meiteis also have their underground, and there are then a lot of complexities. But constitutionally, why should that be a problem? And valley of Manipur, which is the Meitei culture, it would be as beautiful and it would be able to develop its own unique culture. Like Goa. Goa is a very small state. It didn't want to be absorbed by Karnataka or Maharashtra or the Marathi speaking people, so it's maintained. So I think Indian democracy has a vibrancy, it can accommodate, but it's a question of political vision and political will.
Thank you, Nandita.